A play fake. Young goes deep middle. He's got Jerry Rice. Touchdown 49ers!
Welcome to another edition of the 49ers Family Podcast, where my grandpa and I break down the game each week and talk about his stories since he became a fan in 1949. My name is Josh, and I'm here with my grandpa Mike, and we are a 49ers family, coming to you live from Fruitland Community Park in Idaho. For the first time, Grandpa, we are in person at the same time. Can you believe it?
I can't. I mean, it's so different. You're usually in Utah, and I'm in California, and we give and take, and I often don't know when you're going to stop talking, and you don't know when I'm going to stop talking. And now tonight or today it'll be easier because we're looking at each other.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do it in person. We're here for my niece, our grandpa's great-granddaughter's baptism. Some good family time. Beautiful day in Idaho. We checked out the fruit market. Got a tour of the town. Small town, Idaho. Gotta love it. Well, excited to break down, preview our game one this week against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about kind of what we learned in the preseason, and then also kind of preview the schedule overall. I know you had some good talking points there. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting preseason in the sense that I feel like as every 49er fan should know by now, tons of injuries at the wide receiver position. So that's been a very interesting kind of storyline to watch. Decent amount of injuries, but as far as the actual preseason games go, somewhat uneventful, I would say. And in the fact that we didn't play a lot of starters, Christian McCaffrey didn't play a single snap. We'll get to him later. But yeah, Grandpa, you've lived through a lot of preseasons. What have been some of your impressions of this preseason, or do you just not pay attention much to it?
Well, no, I do pay attention, but and not that it's meaningless, but I watch the games, and it's really. They just fill with guys that are going to get cut. We start with 90 guys, right. 53 make the team. They've learned over the years that you don't play the starters because, if Brock Purdy happened to get hurt in a preseason game, your season is over. Yep. And teams have suffered that, so they don't play. And the interesting part for me is the season starts tomorrow. Is since the starters haven't really played a game, is how are they going to perform in the fourth quarter? How much gas is going to be left in the tank? So, the season is upon us. It's exciting. It seems like it's been a long, long time since we played a meaningful football game, and I'm excited. So here we go.
It's very fun. One thing that I feel like we do have to mention is the drama around Juwan Jennings, and seemingly hurt his calf, right? Yeah, I was gonna say his calf left the field almost immediately, and then wasn't to be seen again. And it was like, is this a calf thing? Is this a contract thing? Sounds like in the end it was probably more contract related, but the calf didn't incentivize him really to be out there at all. What's the latest with Juwan?
Well, he has agreed to some incentives for this year. I wish that we had signed him for a couple or 3 years, but he's in the fold for this year. He did show up at camp in many days. It was a peculiar thing, but each off season we've had either Bosa or Debo or Ayuk, and now Jennings. It's always somebody that, is holding out for more money. The team has they're in a tough spot because I'm sure some of these guys they really want to pay, but what they're also doing is creating a reputation that, we'll do this. for anybody, and they can't.
Yep.
One of the reasons Dallas just traded Parsons is had they signed him, they would 3 guys would have accounted for over 50% of their cap, and that would have been, the end of the world for Dallas. So they really put themselves in a position where they couldn't do it, and really gave them away, and made Green Bay a lot stronger. And the Niners, we have a lot of high salary people, and we've got to avoid those things. So it's a tough spot. But anyway, Jennings is signed, and he's going to play, and he's a great receiver.
Yeah.
So,
he is great. He is great. He had a fantastic year last year. It was 1 year, though, and he was thrust kind of by necessity into that wide receiver 1 position because Debo was having a terrible year. Ayuk obviously got hurt, and don't get me wrong, he definitely performed. But I think if I'm the Niners, you gotta see that at least 2 years. You gotta, and then you can pay him more. So they gave him some incentives. Sure, would you like to lock him down for a couple more years? Yes, because if he has a good year this year, he's probably leaving to get paid more. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I really like him. He's a great blocker. He's very aggressive. Yeah. He came through. He was undrafted.
I know, Tennessee. He was on the practice squad his first year.
Yeah. So to me, it's a total gift. We didn't even waste a draft pick on him, but and he turned out to be really, really, really a good player. So I'm rooting for him, and I'm glad that he's back. I wish it was for more than 1 year.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's really, to me, that was probably the most, besides the wide receiver injuries, which was just a revolving door, it was just crazy to see that.
Yeah.
Juwan was probably the biggest storyline of preseason. Any other storylines, you think? Or
no,
should we just move on to the schedule?
There's lots of question marks.
Yes, lots of question marks.
We have really overhauled the roster. There's 12,
especially the defensive line.
Yeah, the 12 players have walked out the door and signed with other teams, and we know that. Greenlaw and Hufunga and Ward, and 7 starters have left, so we have lots of replacements to fill. We concentrated the draft on defense. First 5 picks were on defense, and these guys are going to play, and they have to come through. We kind of adopted the Ram philosophy of, they've really rebuilt their team the last 2 years. They've had 2 really good drafts, and I hope that we can say that, with this group. So, the rookies are going to play, and they have to come through. We finished 29th last year against the run, and if we want to go anywhere this year, we need to finish in the top 10. Totally. Robert Saleh is back, and that's huge. We're going to find out the difference what coaching really means.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, the last 2 years we've had defensive coordinators who just didn't fit, and so Saleh's back, and so our defense will improve, and we have lots of new names and lots of new faces. So last year we were the oldest team in the NFL, and now even with this influx of rookies, actually every team has this influx of rookies.
Right.
So we're now the 3rd oldest team.
Okay.
And Green Bay is the youngest team, and they're good. So, and it's, it's only by a couple of years. They're like 26 years old,
sure.
They average, and we average, 28.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, we have some. There's a huge turnover, and hopefully it's for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good transition into let's talk about the schedule. In our last podcast, we kind of teased it, but very interesting schedule this year because we finished last in the NFC West last year. That equates to an easier schedule this year. So I'm going to read off kind of the 17 games and where the bye is. And then let's talk about maybe what are the most interesting, stints, because you always have the seasons within the seasons,
Mm-hmm.
And then I know you had an interesting point about kind of this strength of schedule. But starting at the top, like I said, this week, starting on the road against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. And then next we go to
New Orleans
to face the Saints. Then we start, our first game at home was week 3 against the Cardinals. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars come to town. Then we go back on the road. So 2 games away, 2 games at home, 2 games away to the Rams and Tampa Bay. Have the Falcons at home, go to Houston, go to the Giants, and then the Rams come up to Santa Clara. Then we go on the road to Arizona, Carolina at home, at the Browns, and then week 14, Grandpa. Our bye comes in week 14.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know I don't have it right in front of me. We do have, I think, at least one Thursday night game.
The Rams.
The Rams, which is kind of a mini bye in the sense that it's a short week, but then it's a long kind of longer break.
Right.
But still, week 14 at that bye. And then the last 4 games of the season, I mean, as much as, and I was a BYU fan, I am a BYU fan, but when BYU was an independent, usually our bye wasn't until deep in the season because it was so front-loaded, because that's when teams would schedule us as an independent. And sometimes it was good, because once you get to that point, you really need a bye, and it's really, really nice, versus if your bye is sometimes, I think it was 2 years ago, our bye was like week 5. It was on the early side, or maybe week 6. But then when you could really use it, week 14. But anyways, bye week 14, and then Titans at home, at the Colts in Indianapolis, and then Chicago and Seattle at home to finish the season. All things considered, and I want you to kind of get into this now, pretty manageable schedule. I mean, I'm not scared about a lot of those teams.
We're actually favored in 15 of our 17 games.
Wow.
So, I mean, so when you finish last, you're benefited. The next year you play a 4th place schedule, and that is very meaningful. And I'm going to break it down and try and simplify it for everybody. So of our 17 games, 14 games are common opponents. Seattle, the Rams, and Arizona and the Niners play the exact same 14 teams, home and away.
Yep.
There's 3 games that are different. And the 3 games that are different for the 4th place team this year, us, we're going to play the New York Giants, the Chicago Bears, and the Cleveland Browns. Okay, those 3 teams had a total of 11 wins last year. Okay, now the Rams will play Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Detroit. Those 3 teams had 41 wins. Our 3 had 11. The Rams played teams that had 41 wins. It's huge. And then Seattle, the 3 different teams that they play are Pittsburgh, Washington, and the Vikings. Those 3 teams had 36 wins last year. Again, 11 for our opponents, 36 for Seattle's. So they have a tougher schedule. The Rams have a tougher schedule, as does Arizona. Arizona is going to play Green Bay, Detroit, and Cleveland, and they totaled 29 wins last year. So the 4th, we are blessed with the easiest schedule in the NFL. It's and we need to now take advantage of that.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we need to take advantage. The concern I have with the schedule, just, being home and away, is 6 of the first 9 games the Niners play this year are on the road. So heavy on the road to start the season. At the end of the season, we're home, a lot, so that'll help later on. the beginning of the season, we also have, Ayuk is going to miss at least 4 games.
Right.
Robinson is going to miss 3 games with a DUI suspension. So our wide receiver room is hurting.
Depleted.
Just to, start out. But the schedule is very favorable.
Yeah.
Like I said, 15 of the 17 games we're going to be favored. The 2 that we're not will be against the Rams and Tampa.
As you say, Game 5 and Game 6?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, that to me, looking at the schedule at a high level, Week 5 and Week 6 at the Rams and at Tampa, those are both really good teams.
Yeah.
I think Tampa is some people's dark horse pick to go to the NFC Championship. They have a squad, and Baker has gotten really comfortable down there in Tampa.
Yeah.
Going to the Rams, which I know Levi South, but still Rams are super good. They have a couple question marks there. I don't know the latest with Matt Stafford. Is he actually okay, or
he's gonna play? But he has a bad back.
Okay.
And if you know anybody that has a bad back, that is not a good thing.
No.
Especially when some 300-pound guy hits you.
Exactly.
And he will get hit. So how long he'll last is anybody's guess.
Okay.
And their backup is Jimmy G.
Yep. Our good old friend Jimmy G.
The Rams are hanging by a thread, and we've got 37-year-old Matt Stafford, maybe the most accurate passer in the league.
So good.
He didn't play in the preseason. He missed most practices.
Right. I was going to say didn't practice much.
Yeah. So that's huge. The Rams are very good. They've had 2 very good drafts.
Puka.
Yeah, and they added, what's his name, the receiver?
That's right. Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams out of Fresno State. They gave up Cooper Kupp, which surprises me because he was just always open. We'll see him tomorrow in Seattle.
We will.
But the Rams, let him walk away. And he's been a great receiver for years. But anyway, the 4th place schedule is meaningful. It's a real difference maker, and we should benefit from that.
Yeah. So Grandpa, looking at the schedule, what's your what's your prediction, win-loss prediction, looking at these 17 games, given that schedule?
Yeah, I'd love to say we're going to go 12-5, but safely I'm going to say 11-6. Injuries are going to happen. We don't know who, what, when, or where. Here we are the day before our first game, and McCaffrey is supposedly going to play, but he had a calf problem on Thursday, and he sat out the last couple of practices, and that just, that in itself can really alter. So I'll say 11-5.
11-6.
Or 11-6.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, before you even said that, I was going to say 11-6 too. I think it's going to be a very interesting season. I think there's going to be ups and downs. There will be injuries. There will be a learning curve for these young guys, especially on the D-line. I'm concerned there. And then also at the wide receiver position, I really like Ricky Pearsall. I really like Juwan Jennings. But Juwan hasn't practiced that much. Does Juwan step in right away as a wide receiver 1, or is Ricky the wide receiver 1? Probably Ricky at this point. I mean, they play kind of different positions. We've talked about that in the past too. But still, I think this team is going to have to figure out its identity a little bit. And maybe transitioning to game week. So I'll agree with your prediction of 11-6. That's probably the most realistic. But transitioning a little bit more to game week, an interesting thing that has happened since the last time we talked was the Brian Robinson trade.
Great trade.
Great trade. Niners picked up Brian Robinson on an expiring contract. He has 1 more year left on his deal. He essentially wanted more money with from the Commanders. Commanders are going all in on a younger running back and kind of said thank you for your services, Brian Robinson. We've traded a 6th-round pick, I believe, for him, which we have a lot of because we always get a lot of comp picks. And but great running back.
Yeah, he was their running back. Yeah, he was the number one running back, and they went to the playoffs. I mean,
right?
Yeah, he's a great player. He's very physical, and when we made the trade, Robinson is a very common name, like Smith or Jones, but I thought, well, it couldn't be Brian Robinson, it was, and I went, wow, that's terrific. So, welcome Brian Robinson. And he's basically going to back up McCaffrey, and so that was a great move by John Lynch.
Right. And that's what I was going to say, that to the point of the 11-6 prediction, I think there are some uncertainties still about this team, but to me, Brian Robinson was a huge depth addition that even if Christian McCaffrey goes out for a game or two, it's not like it's Isaac Guerrero behind him, which Isaac played well. Yeah. But Brian Robinson is proven. He is. Yeah. He's a formidable runner. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see him in the red and gold.
And they will, they're not going to overwork McCaffrey. He will play less. But McCaffrey is so valuable. He's a great runner, and he's a great receiver. And to me, I call him the first down maker. He just makes first downs and scores touchdowns. Yeah. So hopefully he's okay. He says he is. We'll find out tomorrow against Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going into week 1, let's talk a little bit about kind of the situation here. But week 1, obviously, against Seattle. This will be the 55th game all time with Seattle. Seattle it has won 31 and San Francisco winning 23. As we all know, Russell Dangerous Wilson went 17-4 against us, so that was quite the differentiator. Mm-hmm. Will be played at Lumen Field. As we know, it gets very loud there, the way they built that stadium. The sound really reverberates off the kind of shells, if you will, of the stadium onto the field, so it's known for being very, very, very loud. Home of the 12th man. They get in fights with Texas A&M about that. It should be decent weather. There is a small chance of rain, 20%, 10%. It looks like it's most likely going to be cloudy, but maybe a slight chance of rain, or if it rained the night before, maybe it's still, the field's still a little bit wet. Hopefully they get it in good playing shape. But should be comfortable, 70 degrees, so not bad. Some of those early games in the season in Santa Clara can be super hot. This won't be one of those games. 1:05 kickoff Pacific time. We will both be traveling during the game or parts of the game. So
it's going to be hard. It's going to be on an airplane and be going nuts, wondering what's going on.
Yeah. Maybe you'll have DirecTV on the plane.
Yeah, I'll try and find it, but no guarantees.
Yeah. Grandpa, what's the line for this game? Actually, I forgot to look that up.
2.5, and
okay.
Some of it has been at 1.5.
Okay. Niners?
Yeah,
favored,
Niners are favored by 2.5. I think when McCaffrey became questionable, it went to 1.5, and
Makes
now
sense.
he's going to play. So I think it's 2.5.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's always tough to win in Seattle, albeit Brock Purdy, I don't think, has lost in Seattle.
Correct. He's undefeated in Seattle.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy. But, it should be a good game. As you think about Seattle, kind of what's changed from them, from last year to this year? Because they're going through their own kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? But figuring out who they are with this post-Pete Carroll, Seahawks team.
Right. So their coach is Mike McDonald. He was there last year. This will be his second year.
Came from the Ravens.
He came from Baltimore, where he built that great defense. So he's known as a defensive coach. Seattle has a very good defense, especially their defensive backfield is excellent. They're going to be hard to throw on. Last year, they were very porous against the run, and they've made a lot of changes. Geno Smith was their quarterback last year. He's now a Raider.
Uh-huh.
And
so is Pete Carroll.
Yeah, so is Pete Carroll, yeah. And so Sam Darnold, who was with us 2 years ago, and then Minnesota last year, is going to be the quarterback for Seattle. He led Minnesota to 14-3 last year, but he had much better receivers than he's going to have in Seattle. And strangely, Seattle they traded both DK Metcalf, and they also let Tyler Lockett walk, and Tyler Lockett has been with them for 10 years, and he's now, I think, in Tennessee.
Where did Metcalf end up again?
He's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was a great receiver. He's very fast and very muscular.
Very physical.
Yeah. But anyway, he's no longer in Seattle, so a lot of change. And what McDonald wants to do is run the football. And this whole preseason, that's what Seattle has done in their 3 preseason games, is run. And he feels they've really fine-tuned it, where they can run on anybody. Against Kansas City in the preseason, and it was against the Kansas City backups.
Right.
But they ran for 286 yards, to give you an idea. That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And we finished 29th against the run, so we're going to find out real soon, tomorrow, whether we have shored up the run defense or not. Because Seattle's going to run, we need to stop it. So there's lots of change in Seattle. Last year they averaged 22 points a game on offense, and they gave up 22 points a game on defense. They finished 10-7. And McDonald's philosophy is, if we can run the football and play defense, you can't beat us. So we'll see. I don't expect Seattle to be in the playoffs by any means. Their draft, they're one of their weakest. They were weak against the run, and they also had a very skeptical offensive line. And their first draft pick was this guy, Gray Zabel, out of North Dakota State. He's 6'6", 315, and he's going to be the left guard. I think he was the strongest guy at the combine.
Wow.
He's just, he's a dog. I wanted the Niners to draft him, but so Seattle has overhauled their offensive line as well, and the running backs, they kind of share it. Kenneth Walker is the lead runner, and Zach Charbonnet is the backup. He went to UCLA. They have a new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak, who was with New Orleans last year and the Niners prior to that. There's lots of Kubiaks out there.
The Kubiak-Shanahan connection is strong.
Yeah. All from Denver.
Yeah.
Seattle's defense last year ranked 20th out of 32 teams, and where they were really poor was on third down. They finished 31st out of 32 teams on third down.
Were we 32nd?
Yeah.
The Niners might have been that 32nd.
No, we weren't 32nd.
It felt like it. That end of the year defense was so bad.
Oh, we did. We gave up 465 points last year. Man. I think our record is like in 2016 we gave up like 483. So, teams were scoring 30 and 40 against us, but you watch the difference a coach makes in Robert Saleh. So Seattle, they had 11 draft picks like we did, and they shored up the offensive line. They also took a quarterback, Jalen Milroe in the 5th round.
That's right. Out of Alabama.
Yeah, and their backup is what's his name?
Locke? Is it Drew Locke?
Yeah,
still?
it is Drew Locke.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, he played for Denver, and yeah, so
Seahawks, then Denver, and then back to Seahawks.
Yeah.
I think.
So anyway, and they also picked up Cooper Kupp, who has been a pain in the neck against us when I'm surprised the Rams let him go, but they did, and so they, they're formidable, and they're a different team. They're going to start running the football, and
last year it was just Geno Smith throwing like crazy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite the change. I think it's a really good week 1 test for this Niners team, because we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna find out how these guys do. Can they stop the run? Can they put them into 3rd and long situations and make Sam Darnold pass?
Yeah.
Or are they going to eat up the clock and the defense is going to get gassed and stay on the field? It's going to be tough. On the road.
Loud crowd. I read the other day, and this did surprise me, that 50% of the fans are going to be Niner fans in Seattle.
Maybe they've lost a little bit of fans as they
I guess
haven't
they
had
I
that
guess
much
they
success.
have. So that'll neutralize things a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But the other thing that we have to improve on is turnovers. And a couple of years ago we led the league in turnovers, and last year we were minus 10.
Yikes.
So we need to, and with Robert Saleh, that will improve. You can guarantee it. We'll find out the difference a coach makes.
For sure. And special teams. We talked a little bit about special teams last podcast.
Right.
But still some question marks there. They brought in Joseph. Oh yeah, they brought in the coach.
Brent Boyer from the Jets.
Right. But even with that, they replaced the punter. Is now Thomas Morstead, longtime NFL punter.
Yeah.
Replaced the holder. Replaced the long snapper.
Yeah.
And the kicker's still the same, still Jake Moody. But even then, they brought in Greg Joseph to compete with them, push him, and it was neck and neck. And then they cut Greg Joseph, so it's still Jake Moody's job.
Yeah.
But still a lot of questions there. He had a game winner in the preseason.
Yeah.
I hope that was good for his confidence. But this is, I think, a do or die situation. I know the Niners will want it to work out with Moody. They want it to work out so bad. But I frankly would not be surprised if he doesn't perform, if he gets cut mid-season. There's kickers out on the street that are waiting to be signed. I always look at it this way. Kickers are a dime a dozen. There's 336 colleges. They all have kickers. Half of them graduate. There's only 32 NFL teams. There's all kinds of kickers in the unemployment line. Jake Moody does make every Niner fan nervous. And I root for the guy. I root for my team. He makes me nervous, and I think this whole season will be like that. Every time he lines up to kick, we'll not be as confident as we'd like to be. I think he needs to make 80 to 85% of his field goal attempts this year, and that's what Robbie Gould used to do. Mm-hmm. So, but he's been kicking some 50-yarders, and he's always had a leg. It's been more the mental game that you can tell that he doesn't. You look in his eyes, you look at him on the sideline, and he doesn't look well. Versus a Robbie Gould that was just stone-faced, killer instinct, like
ran onto the field.
Get out of my way! Let me win this game.
That'll be, something we have to live through.
Right, because every point counts.
He's changed his kicking style, whatever that means. I don't know what that means.
It's a shorter wind-up, I believe.
Okay.
He went from like a 3-step to now he's a 2-step.
Okay.
What I heard.
Okay.
I don't know much about kicking myself either, but
yeah.
but a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah. So we'll see, but there's Jake Moody. Go get him, Jake.
It's just, I mean, I bring it up because, I mean, as you said, this game, these point spreads in the NFL are usually close.
Oh yeah.
They're usually around 3 points.
You can look at the stats the next day, and whoever wins the turnover margin will usually win the game. I mean,
right.
That's how important turnovers are, and the kicker will have about 2 opportunities throughout the season for a game winner.
Yep.
And if he makes them, you get 2 wins, and if he misses them, you have 2 losses.
Right.
So kicker is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, Grandpa, what's your score prediction for this one?
Well, I think it'll be low scoring. I say the Niners win 20-17.
Okay. Yeah. I can totally see that. I'm going to go, I think it being the first game of the season, I think there's going to be a little bit of sloppy play here and there. So I'm going to say it's going to be Niners 24, Seattle 21.
Okay.
24-21. I do feel like this is a 3-point game to even the point that I just said. It should be a good one.
Yep.
We'll be tuning in as best as we can. But before we let everybody go, Grandpa, you were mentioning before we jumped on this that something happened this off season that's definitely worth noting if you look at the record books.
Yeah.
Which I know you do appreciate a good record or two.
I do. So the owners met in April, and they voted to approve or incorporate the old All-American Football Conference records, of which the 49ers played from 1946 through 49, 4 years. They joined the NFL in 1950. So all the records that were compiled in those 4 years in the All-American Football Conference now count as NFL records. So during the off-season, we picked up 38 wins, because in the AAFC we were 38-14-2. So we have another 38 wins, and we also picked up 2 NFL all-time records, and they're both offensive rushing records.
Interesting.
So in 1948, the Niners set a record for then with 3,663 rushing yards, and that is more than what was the current NFL record held by Baltimore in 2019. That was 32.96. So we now hold, the 49ers now have rushed for more yards in a season with shorter games, so that we now hold the single season rushing record. And we also, with that, we also averaged 6.07 yards per carry.
Wow.
Yeah, every time they carried the ball, they gained 6 yards. And that smashed the Baltimore record of 5.76 yards. So we picked up 2 NFL records all time, and the league's been around since 1920, 105 years, and 38 wins. So the 38 wins.
Yeah, where does that bring us?
We're now 7th.
Okay.
We have 630 wins now, and that's 7th place all time. And there's a number of teams that started years before us.
Right.
The Rams, the Cardinals, the Lions, the Eagles all started, in the 30s.
Packers?
Huh?
Where the Packers?
The Packers are the winningest team in NFL history. Right. They have 818 wins.
Really?
They really, yeah. But see, they started in 1921. The Bears started in 1920. The Bears have always held this record with most wins. Green Bay passed them a year ago.
Okay.
And the Bears have been lousy. Yeah. So, Green Bay's been gaining about 10 wins a year. And so now Green Bay is the all-time winningest team in the NFL. We're 7th, which is really, really good when you consider when teams started.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was
That's cool.
A nice footnote. We picked up 38 wins and a couple of all-time records.
What a productive offseason.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we do appreciate a good record in this household, and love the history behind the Niners. I think history in sports is just fun. I actually just learned recently that the high school near my house has a sports history class for high schoolers.
Really?
So that is the coolest class.
I would have taken that.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, right on. I think that'll do it for another episode of 49ers Family. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Got a long season ahead of us. I always think it's fun because we start the season, it's hot, it's sunny, and then we end the game past Christmas time and in the middle of winter. So it really sees all, it feels like it goes from summer all the way to winter, which I guess it kind of does.
And the Super Bowl this year is in Santa Clara, Super Bowl 60.
And rumored Taylor Swift is performing at halftime.
Oh.
So we'll see if that's a thing or not. But anyways, that'll do it for another episode of the 49 Family Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Go Niners.
Go Niners.